CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by KFC.
Crispy barbecue zinger from KFC. Available for a limited time. KFC, it's finger licking good.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Tuesday, June 17, 2025. I'm Mika Lewis. Thanks so much for joining us. The new social housing program faced intense scrutiny within the halls of Parliament today. The Public Accounts Committee, PAC, convened. Its members focused on a recent report from the Auditor General. This report cast a critical light on the program, highlighting areas of concern that threatened its overall effectiveness. Carolyn Brown reports.
The new social housing program, NSHP, aims to provide quality, affordable and sustainable housing for vulnerable populations. As of the most recent reporting, NSHP has already built 292 housing units. An additional 46 units are nearing completion, and 65 units are currently in the procurement stage. However, Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis, in a December 2024 report, raised concerns about the program, specifically about duplication of services and the need for reform. Now, during a Public Accounts Committee meeting on Tuesday, she elaborated on her findings.
It's a fact that there is duplication. It's a fact that there is overlapping. And it is a fact that there is a substantial cost for managing the delivery of the social benefit.
She explained there is currently no efficient mechanism to limit the number of benefits an individual in need can receive.
The system as it is really to the disadvantage of those who should benefit, because they have to be navigating several ministries providing the same information. If you have a centralized database, just as Member Sibley has said, a beneficiary should be able to know that they can get 200,000 here, 400,000 here, 300,000 here. What we expect, however, is that each system should indicate the cap. We saw one such where the cap was not indicated.
In response to the Auditor General's report, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Arlene Williams, says while there isn't an overlap in services, the government is improving the efficiency of the process.
To date, we have not had any issues with fraud. Thankfully, we're not saying that it can't absolutely happen, but we have been very diligent in how we do our duties. We know, of course, that some Jamaicans are very, very crafty.
She adds the recommendations made by the Auditor General have been taken into consideration. Despite those efforts, the program continues to face obstacles. One significant challenge is the difficulty faced by potential recipients in obtaining the necessary approvals to build on their chosen land.
They are what we would call squatters. In some cases, the lands are government-owned lands. In other cases, they are privately owned lands. My question would be, is there any mechanism, if they are government-owned lands, for those persons to benefit? Because the people who generally have tenure are not necessarily the ones in need.
Some letters were drafted to members of Parliament to look within their constituencies. Some have responded to see, just to advise the Ministry of Lands that are available. We're still doing the assessment to see how much that has yielded. But what we do know is that there are lands that are vested in the Commissioner of Lands.
Another hurdle is the reluctance of some applicants to relocate from their existing communities.
It continues to be a problem because, as you know, persons are very attached to where they live. And in some of the instances, it will mean relocation of these persons from where they live.
The ministry will return to the community in the week ahead.
Future-proofing and legacy formed critical cogs in the wheel of one of the country's largest macroeconomic machineries, tourism. Minister Edmund Bartlett announced a plethora of plans for the sector, including establishing the country's first tourism innovation city in Rose Hall, St. James.
Future-proofing and legacy creation were tenets of the Tourism Minister's sectoral presentation Tuesday afternoon in Parliament. Minister Ed Bartlett shared plans to build the country's first innovative tourism city in St. James. He's excited about what he calls a circular economy driven by the sector.
The purpose of tourism is to uplift communities. And I have a dream to create the first tourism innovation city in Jamaica. And that will be in the Rose Hall area. We'll talk more about it. Because now that we're building two of the largest hotels in the Caribbean, construction of one that has started, and we break ground for another in another few weeks. In addition to what exists there, that corridor will have over 10,000 hotel rooms. We're building 1,550 new houses with the NHT at Barrett Hall.
That's in addition to some 1,600 plus houses to be constructed under a Tourism Enhancement Fund and Housing Agency of Jamaica TEF-HAJ partnership in Grangepen. Minister Bartlett says so far at least one investor has given a commitment to helping realize this historic ambition.
What we will have is a full set community requiring infrastructure now for social development. And one of the hotel partners that is coming has committed to the building of a city around the hotel facilities. That will be unique to Jamaica. And so out of that will flow a tourism that drives activities on one side into the communities on the other side, and the community on that side driving activities into the hotel. That's the essence of the circular economy of which I speak.
Meanwhile, among the updates from the minister's list of 25 major investors for the 2024-2025 period was advances since the creation of a pension fund for tourism workers.
The world's first comprehensive tourism pension scheme is here and is covering workers from the age of 18 to 65, marking a historic step in the social protection for the sector. To date, Madam Speaker, 10,567 individuals have registered and have contributed $4.3 billion to date.
And the minister also announced that some $5 billion was generated for the economy by the Kingston Carnival, which he says is now rivaling Trinidad's main event. Adrian Williams for CVM News.
Principal of Pembroke Hall High School, Reverend Claude Ellis, highlighted that grade 7 students at the institution are reading under the set national standards for literacy. This has sparked concerns about how the government plans to elevate the literacy rate, a matter which formed a discussion on CVM's lead story. With more, here's Kevin Black.
Reading is a lifelong skill that improves memory, builds a robust vocabulary and foundation of knowledge. However, more than 70% of the approximately 220 grade 7 students at Pembroke Hall High School are reportedly unable to read or do so only at a grade 3 level. According to President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, JAPS, Linvern Wright, schools need more government funding towards literacy programs for slow learners.
So when a school like his has something like a 70% students reading below grade level, it's problematic. Dr. Louis Fulcom will tell you, for example, that if it is that you really want literacy instruction to be effective, it can't be more than 12 to maybe about 15 students, if so many. Yes. If it is that you look at students who are at a particular level. Since 2016, Since 2016, we have had an increase in the amount that goes to high schools and primary schools. Very little has happened since that.
Wright says teachers need to understand how to build the literacy catalog of students, which will enhance their development. He emphasized that it is counterintuitive to repeat children with teachers who possess weaknesses in implementing literacy instruction.
It has got to be something in which we actually immerse them into literacy training, because the fact is that you need a literacy background knowledge. The schools where this work, they can advance them, because what they have done is that when they have diagnosed the problem, what they do is that they actually treat the problem and not just look at the symptoms and say, okay, we're holding them back because this is a tradition we have as a school. And it's more a punitive thing than I think a remedial thing.
Literacy lecturer at the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus, Yewande Lewis Folcom, highlights that a preventative measure to counteract this emerging literacy crisis before it escalates even more is to rectify it from the early childhood stage.
Emphasize more reading at the early childhood level. The curriculum at the early childhood level is play-based, and that's a good thing. But there needs to be balance. But reading needs to be a very explicit focus from the early childhood into lower primary grades 1, 2, and 3.
Lewis illustrated that Ministry of Education is already looking into ways to effectively combat illiteracy among youth from a tender age. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
The 2025 election cycle has so far been characterized by legal battles, public demonstrations, and heated rhetoric. Now there's condemnation. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell is rejecting statements by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and one of his deputies, Desmond McKenzie. Dr. Campbell is alleging that the JLP is exhibiting a shift towards authoritarianism. Andre Jebinson reports.
The People's National Party, PNP, is up in arms about multiple statements from the Jamaica Labour Party JLP leadership on the weekend. The core of the controversy lies in pronouncements by Prime Minister and JLP leader Andrew Holness.
We don't really need an opposition because our supporters hold us to account. In fact, our supporters are our staunchest constructive critics.
That was Holness addressing a rally in Hanover Eastern, while Deputy Leader Desmond McKenzie spoke at a gathering in St. Andrew East Central, further galvanizing JLP supporters.
We now budge. We now move an inch. We will never surrender Jamaica to the PNP again. Never.
But PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell does not think those statements are appropriate, denouncing the JLP's utterances.
The mask has fully slipped. The JLP leadership's conduct shows dangerous contempt for democracy. When their deputy leader vows to never surrender Jamaica, framing the PNP not as legitimate competitors, but as an existential enemy, that signals an intent for permanent rule, not democratic governance.
Dr. Campbell characterized the statements as exposing a deliberate and accelerating drift towards autocracy, arguing that they undermine the constitutional role of Parliament and the fundamental principles of checks and balances.
It's the language of a leader who believes is beyond scrutiny, a hallmark of authoritarianism. This is a clear and present danger. The Holness Cabinet's actions are a systematic assault on the pillars of our free society.
But this chant during a PNP protest a couple of weeks ago had some Labourites asserting that the lyrics are meant to be taken literally.
Fire, comrade, we are marching out to Moscow. We are marching out to progress. We are marching out to progress.
Former PNP councillor Venetia Phillips, who now supports the JLP, said on Facebook that the intention is to fight the Labourites. They say they are blood and fire comrades, so it's a declaration of war. There is no indication that any complaint has been filed with the political ombudsman. Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
The last eclipse of our galaxy. Scientists are gathered here today to witness this extraordinary event. Simply marvelous, extraordinary, unforgettable, one of a kind. Oh man, that's amazing.
You can't ignore the craving that makes everything crunch. The crispy barbecue zinger is back with barbecue sauce, cheddar cheese, bacon, and crispy onions on a spicy zinger filet. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Come and tell me what is bothering you, Krishna. Come on.
If Mummy wins tomorrow's competition, then she will leave and take me away.
I won't allow that.
So the court gives the order that from today, Krishna's legal guardian will be her father, Mr. Sagar Chaturvedi.
I don't want to hear Ganga's name again as long as I live.
Ganga.
Brought to you by
Hyundai or Hyundai.
Celebrating
me for the first lead story here on CVM TV.
1 year of bold reporting.
And of course we look at solutions, but the fact is
1 year of fearless investigations.
It's a very important argument and it's a very important issue.
1 year of asking the tough
when
questions.
16 is not enough, is 13 enough?
Lead Story with George Davis is celebrating 1 year of delivering the truth day after day. And we are just getting started.
Let's start the show.
Thanks so much for staying with us. A St. Catherine woman who says she has been stuck in China for weeks now after she lost her passport in April continues to blame the embassy for being far from efficient in helping her to return home in a reasonable time instead of incurring added expenses. Part 2 of her account now from Curlin Brown.
Recapping this ordeal in China is like a skit.
So I lost my passport. I reported it as lost at the police station, got a confirmation that it was lost. I reached out to my embassy for additional steps. They advised that I only needed an emergency certificate to leave China. Waited until the certificate is ready. Went to the airport. The airport told me my embassy should have advised that I needed an additional document, which is an entrance and exit permit to leave China. And this is always needed in the event that you are leaving without a passport, regardless of having a certificate or not.
Latovia Ray goes on to describe a series where critical information was left out regarding crucial pieces of travel documents and the time frame to acquire them. On one occasion, the same day as her ticket, which was impossible to try sprinting as was suggested. Then after finally securing the permit and told the passport replacement could wait until she got home, and with a new emergency certificate for a new route, another red flag.
Given the fact that I'd be staying over 24 hours in the international transit area, I would need a visa. You know, this is something I'd asked the embassy to confirm on multiple occasions because I know once you're traveling for like a set period of time, like in the airport, they would ask you to provide a visa, whether it's a transit visa or a regular visa. And I'd asked them to confirm. They told me no visa is required. And yes, this airline and this route is good with the emergency certificate.
In the end, a 6 to 8 weeks additional wait is necessary for the replacement Jamaican passport. Now, regarding her social media posts, directly or otherwise, CVM News also saw responses posted from the Foreign Affairs Minister with acknowledgements from Ray, with some serious questions and what seems like even more red flags.
I really do appreciate the Minister of Foreign Affairs reaching out to the embassy. I really think that's the push that they needed to do their jobs. However, I'm not sure if you guys are just being oblivious to a huge fact here or you're just trying to just blatantly ignore it. Well, who is going to pay for those new tickets? So the person, quick point, the person who I was talking to directly at the embassy is no longer the person I'm talking to now. So the representative that advised that the embassy knows nothing about the permit was giving me the EC without advising of the permit. She's not the one I'm handling. She's not the one handling my case now. So I'm not sure if that's helping to move my situation forward. But I think there are some huge steps that are being missing from this entire situation.
She thinks she's paying dearly in China for a lost passport. Curlin Brown, CVM News.
A delegation of Richmond Park residents met with representatives from the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KSAMC, and the National Environmental Planning Agency, NEPA. The meeting served as a platform for residents to formally express their concerns and seek solutions to those issues plaguing their community. Adrian Williams has more.
In the Richmond Park community and its environs met with officials from the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, and the National Environmental Protection Agency, NEPA, in a town hall. Residents took NEPA to task over what they deem illegal businesses hampering the serenity and safety of their neighborhoods.
There is a filling station, I think it's on Truman Avenue. And for years, letters has been going to NEPA about that place, and nothing has been done about it. Nothing. It is still there. What about all these vehicles on the sidewalk? I am a senior citizen. I have to be walking in the road. When I walk in the road, these taxi men, they think I shouldn't be there. So now I have to be fighting for my life because of those vehicles. In addition to those plights, she highlighted numerous car marts popping up within the area. What about all these the new car mart popping up in Richmond Park? Not to mention all these garages. What is going on? Letters has been sent. Another resident also pointed out what she says is a gas facility being run in the middle of their residential community.
Two large tanks like what a gas station has in our community, and those tanks contain gasoline. Those tanks are installed on a lot in our community. I want to know what is the approach. Director of the Applications Management Division at NEPA, Gregory Bennett, emphasized the importance of the agency's role to ensure that livelihoods are balanced with social needs, culture, economics, and the natural environment in communities.
There are meetings if necessary, there are letters, notifications, and we encourage written. In fact, we have had many meetings with private citizens group and so on. And of course, we do a lot of different application types. So we recognize the land itself, the use to which land is put. There are so many different complexities surrounding land because people own properties and business and livelihoods, and there are many things, legal and both practical things that surround it.
Adrian Williams reporting for CVM News.
News package continues in a moment.
At Flow, we understand your rhythm. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you. with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do. And our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace and Singer.
Welcome back. Tonight on Tech Pulse, we're unboxing the future. So from AI-powered eyewear to retro cool speakers and a Jamaican-built school app that's changing the game, here's what's hot in tech this week. Let's start with the gear that's turning heads. Anker Prime 20K power bank. This beast delivers 200 watts of juice, charging 2 laptops at once with a built-in display for real-time stats.
Remember, this is only good for up to 100 watts. It's a 200 watt max battery pack. You're not going to be able to charge a 140 watt laptop on this, but you can charge 2 100 watt laptops. I successfully did that with my Lenovo Yoga laptop. It's a 100 watt laptop. And it's really nice because it can significantly extend the life of the battery of your laptop, which is nice if you're flying. I do a lot of travel, and having this to make sure you can do that is great. Also, it's kind of a nice future-proof battery pack for phones.
Klipsch, the One Plus. It's a Bluetooth speaker that blends vintage wood grain with modern acoustics. It's like vinyl met Dolby.
Don't let its compact size fool you. With a 2.25 full-range drivers and 4.5 woofer, the sound is rich, balanced, and fills the room. The bass is surprisingly deep for such a small speaker. I use it for everything from music, audiobooks, even movie nights. And how's the Bluetooth? The range is incredible, up to 40 feet. I can move around the house with my phone and it never drops the connection. Is it easy to adjust the sound? It has a Connect app, and the app lets me fine-tune the equalizer settings to match my preferences, whether I want booming bass or crisper treble. It's all customizable. How's the size? At just 12-inch wide and 6 inches tall, it's super easy to place anywhere.
Meta X Oakley Smart Glasses, dropping June 20. These AI-powered shades are built for athletes and adventurers with voice control, fitness tracking, and a sleek, sporty design.
There's a product drop coming Friday, June 20th. This is big. Oakley and Meta teaming up, that screams sporty tech vibes all over. Now, this collab isn't totally new info. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman mentioned back in January that Meta was working on smart glasses under the Oakley brand, built specifically for cyclists and athletes. And if you're picturing something like your regular Ray-Ban Meta glasses, hold up. These might be way more action-oriented. Unlike the sleek little side camera built into the Ray-Bans for casual day-to-day stuff, the Oakley version is rumored to have a center-mounted camera. Yeah, right in the middle. Think GoPro, but in your face. Perfect for capturing trail rides, downhill runs, or whatever adrenaline-filled thing you're doing at the time.
And then it's the Razer Kishi Ultra. Mobile gaming goes pro with this clip-on styled controller that turns your phone into a console. Zero lag, full grip. But what about artificial intelligence? Well, here's a roundup. AI is evolving fast, and this month's drops prove it. Claude 4 and Mistral Code are redefining coding assistants with enterprise-grade privacy and real-time debugging. Meanwhile, Google's Gemini Flash now powers smarter task scheduling and real-time HDR photo editing. And Alpha Evolve, DeepMind's new coding agent, just beat a 56-year-old math algorithm. And yes, really. Back home, ComSol Jamaica Limited is making schools smarter with My School Jamaica, a digital platform that lets parents track attendance, teachers manage grades, and principals run reports in real time. Already in 100 plus schools, it's bridging the gap between home and classroom. So from AI breakthroughs to homegrown brilliance, the message is clear. The future is now, and it's charging, streaming, and learning faster than ever. Lots more to come right after the break.
The crispy barbecue zinger from KFC. Available for a limited time. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The time by KFC is...
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes. Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Courts presents their 2025 furniture event, The Art of Living, at all Courts stores nationwide. Up to 50% off select furniture brands and styles, plus a free TV with the purchase of select lounge pieces. Get a 3-piece bedroom set for only $169,999. Complete the look with our designer rugs and accessories. Shop now and pay later on 6 to 48 months credit. So don't miss The Art of Living 2025 furniture event happening now, only at Courts, bringing value home. Offer ends June 24, 2025. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. You're just in time because we've called Jordan Fort, who joins us for a quick look at what's to come in sports.
Yeah, I see what he did there. Jordan Fort, called Jordan Fourth. But anyway, it wasn't a golden start for the Reggae Boys in the Gold Cup. They lost their opener to Guatemala last night, 1-0. I'll give you the reactions of what the head coach had to say. Plus, we're talking about the West Indies women. Now, I remember the last time I was here, I was talking about the West Indies breaking the curse and finally getting a win. But now the women have lost their series to South Africa with back-to-back losses. And lights at Sabina Park. A good sign, the Prime Minister touring Sabina Park, along with the Sports Minister. And they say everything is on track to have the lights fully ready for the series against Australia.
All right, it's all things bright. But just before that, we'll tell you more about what's happening in regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, the government will deliver its first mid-year budget review in the House of Representatives on Wednesday. It comes after the Standing Finance Committee met on Monday and approved just over $3.1 billion in supplementary fundings to support ministries and divisions until the end of the fiscal year in September. Here's TTT News with more.
The 2025 budget delivered last October by the former Finance Minister Com Imbut had projected a $5.6 billion deficit and was based on an oil price of US $77.80 and gas at US $3.59 per MMBTU. At the time, the largest allocations went to education, health, national security, and public utilities. The Standing Finance Committee on Monday approved substantial increases to state agencies and ministries. They include the Ministry of Health at $728,539,920, Ministry of Education at $455,106,000, Ministry of Public Utilities at $489,470,000, Office of the Prime Minister at $128,403,880, Ministry of Public Administration million and artificial intelligence at $325,811,000, and Ministry of Works and Transport now works in infrastructure at $325,208,000.
And in international news, for the first time in months, Israeli authorities allowed flour trucks to directly enter the northern Gaza Strip, but blocked them from reaching storage facilities. The lack of a clear distribution mechanism has left thousands searching for trucks to get flour directly. Here's Al Jazeera with more.
Crowds of desperate and hungry Palestinians walk through the bombed-out neighborhoods of what were once their home in the northern Gaza Strip. They start walking in the evening, hoping they can be the first to get their hands on a bag of flour.
Since returning from the south, we have been besieged in the north, completely cut off. No food, not even a piece of bread or flour. Why do you think we are tolerating this journey? It's because the other alternative is starvation. We are literally losing our lives for a bag of flour.
Now they sit and wait, hoping to hear the good news. They don't even know if the flour trucks will be there in the next few hours or at all today. It's a chance, they say, they cannot miss.
We're 8 people in the house. We can't afford to buy flour. The war has been going on for almost 2 years now. We have no money left. We're trying to get flour, but we could get killed in the process. My father asked me to come here. He said, you either die or live. I beg the world to find us a solution for this war.
Israel has recently allowed limited supply of flour to enter the north of Gaza. There is no clear distribution mechanism, and desperate families say they have no choice but to try and grab it directly from the trucks.
We're facing an impossible situation. Cold, hunger, and constant shelling. They accuse us of looting or blocking aid trucks, but this is not true. Why would we do that if we're getting food? Starvation has led us here.
And that's it for regional and international news.
We take a break with a quick look at your weather report.
Last eclipse of our galaxy. Scientists are gathered here today to witness this extraordinary event. Simply marvelous, extraordinary, unforgettable, one of a kind. Oh man, that's amazing.
You can't ignore the craving that makes everything crunch. The crisp